So you've probably heard the whispers, right? That OpenAI is building a physical device. And look, if your first thought was, oh great, another AI hardware flop, honestly, I don't blame you. But this time, it might actually be different. And while everyone's asking if this is going to replace your phone, the real vision is, well, it's a bit more radical than that. I mean, let's be real. Pretty much every AI hardware launch we've seen so far, from the Humane Pin to the Rabbit R1, has been a spectacular failure. So why on earth should we pay attention to this one?
Well, it all comes down to this combination. We're talking about a partnership between OpenAI Sam Altman and Jony Ive. You know, the legendary designer behind the iPhone, the iMac, basically every iconic Apple product you can think of. They're not just building a product, their whole approach is totally different from anything we've seen before.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break down everything we know about this new gadget, what it is, why OpenAI is even bothering to make it, what it could actually do for you, when it might show up, and this is a big one, the huge risks that could kill this thing before it even launches.
Okay, let's get right into it. First things first, what is this thing they're actually building?
All right, so just forget everything you think of when you hear the word device. This thing is rumored to be about the size of an old iPod Shuffle. It fits in the palm of your hand, it has no screen and no buttons. It's just got a camera and a microphone, and the entire way you interact with it is through your voice. You talk to it, it talks back. Simple as that. But here's the really key idea. It is not trying to replace your phone. The whole concept is for it to work alongside your phone and your laptop as a third pillar of computing. Think of it as this quiet companion, always there, kind of observing your surroundings and just waiting for you to need it. And this lines up perfectly with Jony Ive's entire design philosophy. He actually said the goal is a device you use without even thinking about it. No learning curve, no complicated setup. It's meant to be almost disappointingly simple, a tool that just fades into the background of your life. But all this brings up a huge question, right? Why would a software giant like OpenAI, a company that's absolutely crushing it, decide to jump into the notoriously difficult, super low-margin world of making hardware? Well, Sam Altman has this really powerful analogy for it. He says that using our phones and computers today is like being in the middle of Times Square. There are flashing lights, constant notifications. Every app is just screaming for your attention. What he wants this new device to feel like is a quiet cabin by a lake. It only speaks when it has something that's genuinely worth saying. Okay, but beyond that nice philosophy, there's a number, an almost unbelievably massive business reason. Altman reportedly told his own staff that this partnership with Jony Ive could add about $8 trillion in value to OpenAI. $1 trillion. That's not just some ambitious goal. A number like that explains exactly why they're willing to take this huge gamble on the brutal world of hardware. So you gotta understand, this is a massive strategic play for control. By building their own device, OpenAI can create a huge new way to make money. They can own the entire experience from the hardware to the software, and this is so important, they can escape that 30% platform tax that they have to pay Apple and Google on their app. That's a huge cut of their subscription revenue. It's a massive incentive. Okay, so that's the why, but what does this actually mean for us? Let's try to imagine what a day with this AI companion could really look like. Picture this. You walk into your office, instead of fumbling around with your phone, you just ask, what's important today? And it just tells you a summary of your key emails. Or maybe you're traveling, you see a sign in a language you can't read, its camera sees what you see, and it just tells you what it says. No app, no typing. And that right there, that's the whole bet. It's all about friction removal. OpenAI is betting that the main reason most of us don't use AI more often isn't that the AI isn't good enough, it's because using it is just too clunky. This device aims to get rid of all those steps. So, the big question on everyone's mind is, when can we actually get one? Well, this is where the story gets a little bit messy. At first, reports were suggesting we might see an unveiling in late 2026. But now, thanks to some court filings and insider reports, it looks like the absolute earliest it could ship is February 2027, with a wider release probably stretching into 2028. And one of the biggest reasons for that potential delay is something engineers are apparently calling the personality problem. Teaching the AI when to speak, and more importantly, when to just stay quiet, is proving to be much, much harder than they thought. I mean, an AI that interrupts you at the wrong time isn't helpful, right? It's just annoying. But engineering roadblocks are only part of the story. The entire project is facing some absolutely massive risks that could sink it completely. So let's break them down. First and foremost, the big one, privacy. An always-on device with a camera and a microphone, that is a huge ask. Then there's the hardware itself. Running a powerful AI model without crazy lag or terrible battery life is a monumental challenge. And finally, you've got market skepticism. We've all been burned before by these kinds of promises. And this whole social acceptance thing, it's very, very real. Just think back to the huge backlash Google Glass got. People were calling users glass holes and banning them from restaurants. OpenAI could easily face that exact same kind of social stigma. And finally, let's not forget about the competition. OpenAI isn't launching this into a vacuum. They're jumping into an absolute shark tank. You've got Apple weaving AI into everything, Google with Gemini everywhere, Amazon has Alexa, and Meta has its smart glasses. Just having the best AI model might not be enough. So, when you put it all together, here's where we land. This device is either going to be one of the most important product launches of the entire decade, something that fundamentally changes how we interact with technology, or it's going to be a very, very expensive lesson in why software companies should probably just stick to software. There really isn't much middle ground here. The vision is incredible, but the risks of actually pulling it off are massive. And that brings us to the final crucial question. Is this the calm, screenless revolution in computing we've all been waiting for? Or is it a privacy nightmare just waiting to happen?